Here's a little logo animation with a title reveal using a lot of the cool techniques we've learned, including some position animations, track matte animations, some feathering and mask animations. So a lot of cool stuff going on in this composition. As always, this project is available for you to follow along with. Simple logo reveal. The original one is called logo and logo reveal. And then I'll be putting all of what I'm working on right this second into a new folder that you can follow along with too. Awesome. So first, let's create our basic logo. And if you open up the original logo, you see that it's just a square comp. Now you can do anything with this logo. You can bring in your own logo, and that's why I like creating a separate comp for the logo so that you can quickly replace it. And no matter what you replace it with, it will still be animated in this fashion. So I'm going to click Create New Composition, and first I'm actually going to call this logo animation. 5 seconds is fine, 1920 by 1080. So that's going to be our full animation. Then I'm going to create another composition called logo 2, and this one I'm going to make it 1000 by 1000 pixels. And then we can just create a simple logo. So what I did was I used the ellipse tool, I made it white, and I just double clicked the ellipse, which created a perfect circle within this perfectly square composition. Then I just added a text layer on top with a V, which let's make it black for now, or dark gray, and make it really large. And this is for Video School Online. This isn't really my logo, but I just wanted to create something right within After Effects so it was easy for you to recreate as well. You could put a picture here, you can do whatever. And let me actually just use the Align tool to align it. And I'm actually going to move it down just a little bit. Cool, so now we have our logo. Next, let's take our logo 2, or the logo you created in it, and add it to our animation comp. Here, let's add a background. So I'm going to press Command Y to create a new solid layer. And for this one, I will pick some sort of like orange color. Cool. Okay, orange, solid. Put this behind. Rename it BG for background. Looking at our logo reveal, what I'm going to do first is just this animation of the logo being sort of faded on like this, expanding on. So to do that in our logo animation, let's put it right in the middle. Let's bring down the scale. So pressing S to bring down the scale, I'll put it at 50%. Now I want to create a mask, a circle mask around this, and I'm going to do a mask expansion. So to create a perfectly circular mask, I can just select this logo layer and double click the ellipse tool, which is now the mask tool when I have a layer selected. The cool thing is that because this composition, the logo 2 composition, was a 1000 by 1000 pixel composition, the mask is also going to be a square, not an oval. If I did it on the background, for example, it becomes this oval mask. But because it's on the square comp, it becomes a perfect circle. If I drop down my mask 1 properties and then I play with the mask expansion, you can see what I'm going to do. I'm basically going to fade it on and reveal it like this. So let's go to 1 second, set a keyframe for mask expansion at 0 pixels, and then go to half a second and drag it down all the way until it's off the screen. Okay, and negative 500, that makes sense that this would be it because the mask or the size of this is 1000 pixels. So if it's decreasing by size by 500 pixels on each side of the composition, that would mean it would disappear. Let's go in the middle and add some feathering to make it look a little bit more organic. That looks pretty good. One thing that I noticed though, when I expand on the feathering, once it's already expanded on, the feathering effect still is in effect. So what I want to do is go to this first keyframe, set my mask feather there, say, let's just make it 150 to make it a little neater. Go to the next one and then make the mask feather 0. So let's bring in our comp time so we can play through this. Yeah, that looks pretty darn cool, actually. So that is cool. If we go back to our logo reveal, we see what happens though is this little ball drops down and then it becomes this sort of logo. And that's actually two different layers. It's this drop layer, and it's just sort of an illusion that it looks like the logo itself drops down, then expands. So what I did there was I just created a little circle, which I can do with my ellipse tool. Make sure I don't have any layer selected. Shift, click, and drag to create a perfect circle, something like this. I'll rename this drop. With the align panel, I'll just align it to the center, horizontal and vertical. So at this point, right when the logo starts to expand, I want it to be here at this position. So press P to bring up position, set a keyframe there. But here at the start, I want it to be up above our composition, right? So I'm going to drag the y-axis up until it's off. So now it comes down, and wow, that was really fast. So we needed this to go slower. So let's move this to the right to maybe like 1 second, which means we'll need to move these keyframes to the right or just this entire layer to the right. Boom. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll add a little bit easy ease, F9 on my keyboard. Boom, boom. Maybe I want it to start expanding just a little bit earlier with the easy easing. Since it gradually goes into that fade, I need to bring this a little bit earlier. Cool, I like that. We can add motion blur to the drop flowing down, and I'll put this behind our logo too. That's cool. Then after the logo expands on, I'm just going to cut off the end of this drop layer just by dragging this in like so. So it's off completely, even if I don't see the logo. So that's really cool. The next thing I want to do is add our little text kind of pop out. So see how this text pops out like so? First, I want to create my text. So let's go here around 2 seconds. Take our text tool, and I'll type video school online. Wow, and this is really large because I'm using the same settings for that V. Let's just play with the size of things and the spacing. I'm going to actually make it left aligned on the paragraph, and I'm going to change the font to white. Actually, for this one, I'm going to, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's make it a little smaller. Cool. So the ending spot here is going to be vertically center, but just over to the right of the screen. Cool. With this logo, it's going to move over to the left. So before we move it though, let's set a keyframe here when it expands at 1.5 seconds for both scale and position, because I'm going to shrink it just a little bit. See how this shrinks down while it's moving over to the side? So back in our logo composition, so there it's there, and then here we want to shrink it. Let's just bring up scale to maybe 40, and then for position, press P to bring up position. Drag it over to the side like that. Now, once it's over the side, I have a better idea of what our text looks like. So let me actually, just using scale, I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit. Make sure it's vertically aligned again. Okay, so that's kind of our final look. And also what I'm going to quickly do is make the V inside the logo the same color as this background. What I can do is get this orange color by pressing Command-Shift-Y or selecting this layer and going to Layer, Solid Settings. If I click this color, the color picker pops up, and I have this hex code, which is the exact color of this orange, FE9814. If I copy this, then let me cancel out of this, then go into Logo 2 and go into the V and then into the character settings and into the color. Now I can paste this color right there into this hex code. And that's how you pick and save colors and reuse them over and over. An easy way anyways. Now I like that because it looks kind of like this V is cut out from this white little circle, which I think looks a little bit better. This text also has a little bit of animation to it in the original logo animation. See, it pops out from behind our logo. So we want it to be its final position right here. So let's press P and set a keyframe there, and also for S for scale. If I press U with that layer selected, we see both of those keyframes. Now, if I go back here when the logo's in the center, first let's put this behind our logo. And then let's drag it to the left and make it a little bit smaller. Just like so. And now it pops on from behind our text. Pop, doom, doom. But of course we need to get rid of this text before here. Okay. Now let's add some easy ease for all of these keyframes for both the logo and text animation, and then go into the graph editor, select all the keyframes and drag the handles in to give it a little bit more of a pop, and add motion blur to both layers. Awesome. So you can play around with the speed, the size of everything, but this is our basic logo reveal. I actually did this easier than how I did it in my original one. I used a track mat, which isn't really necessary for this layer. So what I did here was I added this track mat layer, which I basically just duplicated the logo. Now for the bottom logo, I called this track mat. And then for the Video School Online text, I changed the track mat to alpha inverted mat. So alpha inverted mat means that this text will appear wherever this logo or this track mat is not. So let me turn off the logo and you can see what's happening. So it's coming from behind that. So it's a kind of for sure way to make sure that your text, no matter what the size or position is, it's not going to appear when it's behind the logo. The track mat is just there to ensure that this Video School Online text only appears where the track mat is not, and that's the inverted mat. If I chose alpha mat, track mat, it would only appear where that track mat is. Inverted means where it's not. Awesome. So this is a cool little intro. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's just another real world project that I think knowing all the skills you have, just putting them together, it's like little building blocks. You can create these sort of more advanced animations, and it's just going to get more advanced as we go along with this class. Thanks so much for watching.